We are Nerd Cult Online, and this is Phantom Spark from Coatsink and Thunderful. In this game, you play basically a being of what seems like pure thought, and essentially kind of getting encapsulated inside a vehicle. Kind of looks like it's made out of different lights in the color spectrum. And essentially, as you progress through the stages, you're basically mapping out those paths and kind of building neural pathways at the same time. And so, the more that you do a certain map, the better you know it, the more those pathways get mapped and the stronger they get. As you can see, the world itself it's full of bright colors. The vehicles, the way they move, remind me a lot of the light cycles from the movie and the games based on Tron. And the majority of these courses, you pretty much go pedal to the metal. The object is to basically clear it as fast as you can, and each time you do it, try to actually beat your time. And eventually, on some of the courses, you'll actually unlock not just your own ghosts to chase, but ghosts of basically the AI characters or the dev team themselves, basically. And by actually mirroring some of their movements, you can actually become better at racing in the game, and seeing where gradually you can actually start making some additional kind of shortcuts to give yourself some better gains. Now, like with pretty much any racing game, as you can see right there, I pretty much never brake. Now, I believe that it's typically better in most games to ease up off the acceleration going into some of those sharper turns than it is to hit the brakes while doing it. Now, of course, in some tight turns, that would allow you to drift in most games. And so far, I have yet to time it right where I can actually drift in this game. So my rule of thumb through all the stages I've played has been never use the brake. Just ease off a little bit off the acceleration as you're turning. And then as you're coming out of the turn, gun it again. And as you're about to see, you can die in this game as well. So you want to make sure that you are essentially avoiding those types of things, so that way you're less likely to end up dead, and so that way you can focus on completing the course in a faster time each time that you actually go for it. Now here we meet one of the actual human characters, and even them you end up racing throughout the game, and they do pose some hefty challenges throughout. And so far, each one that I've played against has raced better than any of the more AI-like characters, and I feel like that's intentional, basically. Almost like they're insinuating that the human element is going to be better at the courses than the artificial intelligence would be. Which makes me wonder if the times and the racing of those individuals might have been the actual dead team racing themselves on the courses to basically set the ghost. So basically somebody that's had a lot of experience on the game doing it. But even then, they're not so skillful in the game that they can be beat after a couple tries in some cases. Some of them are actually really easy to beat if you've been paying attention to the controls through the game. Overall, the game is quite simple. The mechanics are very simple, very easy to learn, and it almost feels kind of serene, even with the more hectic maps where you're turning more often. But even with that, it's honestly felt very relaxing to play the game. I was quite surprised where a racing game, or something where I'm doing lots of racing type activities, I didn't feel like I was as much on the edge of my seat trying to really push myself and just kind of letting it go naturally. And it made for really an overall enjoyable experience that I wasn't expecting. That, coupled with the great graphics and the cool looking crafts that you're driving, overall, I found the game actually to be surprisingly enjoyable. Typically, my cup of tea when it comes to anything racing related is that if you're not able to actually like blow things up or knock somebody out with a turtle shell or something like that, it's usually not for me. And found myself surprisingly enjoying it. So overall, solid game. Really enjoyed it, and definitely worth giving it a try if you like games where you basically get to drive fast.